Oh my god, what is this? There's a little bug doing backstrokes in my spaghetti. Unbelievable. Still no answer. Third day in a row.
Hello, this is Bonza Restaurant. Please leave a message.
Yes, alright. I'll leave a message to my lawyer. Hello, Monisha?
Yes. Hello. This is Sharma speaking.
Yes, it's Farida. We're going full legal. I want revenge, I want refund, and I want justice.
Okay, cool. Let's go. So, Miss Anna.
Yes.
I'm Anisha Rahman, the legal representative of Miss Farida, and she had experienced an infected food that was from your restaurant. So, do you deny this allegation?
What is infected?
Do you deny it? Are you denying it?
What do you mean infected food? It could be a garnish. It could be a broccoli with legs.
Oh, please, I still twitch to the smell of spaghetti sauce, and I've spent a full night in the hospital.
Do you want a dessert?
No, I want damages, not tiramisu.
Well, then, since you are denying the allegations, first and foremost, we are pressing legal charges against you for the psychological damage that was done to my client, and under the penal law for the severe bodily harm that was caused to my client. So, if you don't agree, then we will take this route.
See you in. So that was the demonstration of our case, and now we're going to present its solution. So first, the service encounter. So the customer ordered food from Bonsai restaurant, and the food was delivered to a delivery platform, and everything was alright until the customer found insects in the food. And then the customer had a probable food poisoning and spent a whole night in the hospital, and like had experience of several pain and nausea. And so now I'm going to talk about the impacts from the lack of response from Bonsai restaurant. So these are the impacts that you can see. At first, competitive disadvantage of course, because the loyal customers of Bonsai restaurant will be moving to their competitors, and the regulatory and legal risks because they will face chances of business closure or shutdown, and also inspections, penalties, and then their long-term brand image will obviously face damages because there will also be loss of brand trust and damage to customer loyalty, as loyal customers will now become critics, and they will reduce the chances of repeat orders, and also their image as a reliable food provider will tarnish, and negative word of mouth, of course, because due to the heavy exposure of social media nowadays, people like very easily spread negative word of mouth through groups like food banks, Bangladesh Eats, etc. Now the next part, that is strategies to recover and rebuild with the trust with the complainer, will be discussed by my teammate Manisha. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So, as we had seen, that our customer had received a food delivery where it was infested with insect. Now, in such a case, it is very important for Bonsai to now implement strategies to somehow recover their service using the service recovery paradox, and also to rebuild trust with the customers. So, since there was a legal complaint filed in this case, the first and most feasible option for Bonsai is to appeal to resolve this problem through mediation methods, that is informal legal proceedings outside the court before the official proceedings. Through these mediation methods, what they can do first and foremost is acknowledge their failure of their service and also formally and verbally apologize for this. To further emphasize their apology, they can also pay a they should have for paying a personal visit to the victim in the hospital since the victim was hospitalized for over a week or so. And to further ensure that such an incident does not happen in the future, what they can do is that they can partner with VSTI, who are a primary organization responsible for hygiene regulation, and also implement policies centered around pest control, sanitation, and food safety. Now, to rebuild trust with the customer, what they can do is that they can issue a social media apology, which was the case with Sultan Style Kachifai when they were also accused of having rotten meat or any other infected insects in their food. So they had also issued a social media apology, which did garner a positive reaction from their customers. They can also hire and train the staff specifically for complaint handling and to also ensure that such a quick response timeline and also train them to prevent any escalation of any complaints. Now, for how this incident could have been prevented in the first place will now be presented by Anna. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Asman, and now for the Koka to make sure that these mistakes don't happen in the first place. First, we could have a visual inspection checklist which will be checked regularly, and then sealed ingredient containers to make sure that the products that are perishable are sealed and put in a good way, and double checking system with 2 teams which would check the entire safety measurements separately. Next. Is automated pest control alerts. There are digital machines that can detect pest control for like rodents, cockroaches. We can implement them in the storage and in the refrigerators. And next is QR codes and receipts on the food delivery box to make sure that individual customers can make sure that any type of allergy requirements or if they have a personal feedback, they can get through with the QR code. And last, functional complaint handling system where if a complaint is filed, it will be solved within 48 hours. Next. To summarize the entire case study, alongside a restaurant face food hygiene crisis, which risked their loyalty and the trust of the customers. They have to make sure that through swift apologies and compensation and proper DSTR measurements, they can gain them trust back. And through transparent complaint handling and proactive safety protocols, they also